We saw Republican Congress members going back to the state of Colorado, I guess, to lie to the people of Colorado about what was in that disastrous budget bill. But the people of Colorado were not buying it, and they were booing them at these manufactured press conference on the steps of the Colorado State Capitol. Exhibit A, MAGA Republican Congress member Gabe Evans pretending that this disastrous budget bill actually protects Medicaid when it does the exact opposite. Here, play the clip.
This is about protecting Medicaid, protecting the American dream,
Because it's about protecting Medicaid. It literally cuts like close to $1 trillion, like $880 billion. What are they talking about? Here's MAGA Republican Congresswoman Lauren Boebert. Play this clip.
With the one big beautiful bill. And like I said, the Senate needs to constrain that even more than we did in the House. This is about standing up to the radical agenda in Washington, D.C. It's about delivering results for all of Colorado and all of America. The big beautiful.
It's the big beautiful bill. They keep calling that. It's a big giant disaster. I'll show you one more clip of some of these people just not buying it. Let's play it.
people in the United States. You guys know my background. I was a cop and a soldier for 22 years, and so having sworn my life 3 times to uphold and defend the Constitution and deliver that American dream to Coloradans, to people across the country, this is why we're here today. This is why I'm...
And we're seeing headlines like this throughout Colorado. Colorado businesses struggle amid uncertainties of Trump's fluctuating tariffs. Colorado would lose billions of dollars in Medicaid funding under this disastrous bill. Colorado is going to lose a lot of clean energy programs that bring jobs to the state. Who better to talk about what's going on in the state of Colorado than Colorado Governor Jared Polis? Governor Polis, great to have you on. What do you think when you see these Republicans coming back from Washington and saying that this big budget disaster bill actually protects Medicaid? What's your response to that?
Well, frankly, this is really the first Coloradans have seen of Gabe Evans. He's been hiding, 0 town halls. People have been having, cut out photos of him at town halls trying to get his ear in his district, which is right near Denver. He won by just a couple thousand votes. He's very vulnerable. But this is the first they saw of him, and the reception wasn't good because there he is defending an incredibly unpopular bill that would throw hundreds of thousands of Coloradans off of their health care and, frankly, raise commercial insurance rates for everybody else. Because when you throw that many people off of health care, there's cost shifting that occurs, and you're going to see 15 to 20% increases or even more on everyone's insurance premiums that they buy commercial insurance with. So people are really outraged with this, and this is the first they saw of him. So I wasn't any surprised to see that he got that kind of reception right near his district.
I know when you're looking at that budget bill, you're looking out for your state. You're taking a look at, okay, how is this impacting Medicaid and how many people are on Medicaid in the state? How is this impacting SNAP? How is this impacting the infrastructure projects that are going on across? How is this impacting making housing more affordable? What's your just kind of, overall assessment? Are there certain areas that concern you more than others? Or what do you say to the people of Colorado as this works its way to the Senate?
Well, it's a very devious plot because the federal government is cutting back on Medicaid, and they're letting the states be the bad guys. They're saying, you guys decide exactly who to throw off, what benefits to cut. To be clear, I can certainly speak for Colorado. I'm almost certain it's the case for every state. The states don't have the ability to backfill this Medicaid money. It's a question of who will lose their health care and what benefits will be cut. Those are terrible decisions to foist them on the states. And again, no matter what the states decide, it's going to increase everyone else's insurance. So this big, beautiful bill is really blowing up right in the face of Gabe Evans, right in the face of the president. There's still time to fix it. I hope the Senate does, because real people are hurt when they lose health care.
It seems what the Trump administration uses the federal government for is to kind of attack the freedoms within the state's rights and the ability of the state to protect its people's freedoms. But then also when it comes to the resources, limit the purpose of what the federal government is actually there for, being this important backstop on all of these issues, whether it is something like Medicaid or whether it is something like, in the Department of Education and ensuring that there are lunches, for kids with disabilities or kids who are poor and rely on it. It's cruel. It feels very cruel. How do you see it?
Colorado already is a state. For every dollar we pay to the federal government, we only get 90 cents back. And this only makes it worse. They're using more and more for debt service. This budget plan increases the deficit more than any other budget plan in the history of our country, blows the roof off the deficit. Even Elon Musk criticized the fact that it increases spending and decreases revenue. What does that equate to? Record deficits, record debt. More and more of Coloradans' tax dollars and your tax dollars are just going to go to servicing the debt, rather than help people with healthcare, help kids in our schools, or help build roads. And that's what people want their taxes to go to.
And let's talk about DOGE, because I think in theory, people want the government to be more efficient. We want to rein in bad spending. But in my view, DOGE has been an absolute failure. There's actually more federal spending. And now with this budget, the deficit's going to increase by trillions. And then there is the direct attacks on states and things that people don't really necessarily even think about outside of the state. But talk to us about how DOGE has harmed Colorado, including in areas like forest services and wildfire prevention and things like that.
First of all, as you pointed out, if the goal was to reduce the deficit and cut spending, it didn't work. There's record spending. It's a spending spree, defense, border security, all the things that are in that bill, record amounts, while they're cutting back in areas that matter and reducing revenue. Look, we all hope that DOGE would find major waste and fraud and result in savings. To their credit, they found a little, but in fact, it's dwarfed by this huge deficit spending plan. So it really was all for naught if they're just going to spend 10 times even what they saved through that work.
Talk to us about your budget and contrast it with what we're seeing now and the types of priorities that, as a Democratic governor, you're focused on versus, it seems, when it comes to the federal budget, it has a lot to do with harming people, taking away, things that are essential services. Can you, as a Democratic governor, have a budget that helps people and is also fiscally responsible?
And first of all, we balance our budget. It's a requirement in Colorado. I think it's a requirement in nearly every state to produce a balanced budget. The federal government is going to have record deficits with this plan that's making its way through Congress. We put people first in ours. First thing we do, fund our schools. We have full funding of our schools, reducing class size. We increased the budget per student by about $400 and some dollars. For a class of 20, that's a good $8,000-9,000 increase for next year. We made college more affordable. We did now if you make under $90,000, the first 2 years of college, community college, are free in the great state of Colorado. We established free preschool and kindergarten. When I became governor, that's one of the reasons I ran. We only had half-day kindergarten. Parents had to pay for full day. Preschool you had to pay for. $6,000 a year plus, free now. Saving families of 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, thousands of dollars a year, and more importantly, making sure that every kid, no matter their economic background, gets a strong start in learning and achievement and is able to perform at grade level. So this is the way that we've done it, and we've done it every year with a balanced budget.
Governor, are there any issues? It's a bit of a broad question, but whenever I have a governor on, you have a perspective that I, as a reporter in an interview, don't. So are there any issues that you think deserve more attention, that you're focused on a day-to-day, that, I always think that sometimes the most important issues are the ones that are not being discussed. And so are there issues in your state or just in general that concern you, that you're focused on, that you want to see more attention be spent on?
I'll raise two exciting things we're working on in Colorado, and many states like Colorado, where it's desirable to live, good job market, people want to come here, our housing prices have gone up. And so there's been artificial constraints on supply. We focus on making it easier to build homes, eliminating parking requirements, allowing accessory dwelling units to be built by right, establishing multifamily zoning in near transit areas in our cities. We reformed stair evacuations to allow for more architectural flexibility. So everything we're doing to help reduce the cost of housing, make living in our state more affordable. The second area, which is very exciting, is what I would put in the kind of the realm of workforce innovations. How do we better prepare learners? And we mean students 16, 17, 18, but also could be a 30-year-old coming back to learn a new career. Learners of all ages, how do we successfully prepare them for good careers that earn a good living with meaningful certification that means something to employers, right? So it's well beyond just, it's college for 4 years or 2 years. There's many kinds of certificates, whether it's a trade like welding, whether it's a nurse anesthetist, nurse assistant. How do we get people trained up to live their potential, earn a good living, and also help power our state and our country forward? And we're doing a lot in that area, from apprenticeships to free training, to making sure that students who graduate high school have the opportunity and exposure, especially if they're not going on to a four-year university, to get a certification as they graduate that allows them to get a good job.
Finally, this budget is working its way through the Senate right now. As a leader outside of Washington, the governor of the great state of Colorado, what would be your message right now to the Senate about this budget bill and how it impacts states like yours?
Well, I think they need to start from scratch. Get rid of the Medicaid cuts, get rid of the SNAP cuts, which are, the way that many low-income, hardworking people can afford the meals. Get rid of those cuts, start from scratch, build a budget that puts people first, and really helps invest in the dreams and the aspirations of the American people. And to do that, they really need to set that atrocious bill that passed the House aside and start fresh. And that's what I encourage my friends in the Senate to do.
Colorado Governor Jared Polis, first time on the MeidasTouch Network so far. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Everybody hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.